So, hello everybody. As usual, we wait about 20 seconds longer to allow for some late arrivals before we start. All right, so I would say let's start. A very warm welcome to everybody today to our next US CEE-Swiss Impulse session. My name is Oliver Bertschinger. I'm the Managing Director and President of the Chamber of Commerce, Switzerland, Central Europe. And I will give a very brief introduction and then hand over to our distinguished speaker today, Barbora Gulejova. I hope it's always funny, I never say the last name, and then I always realize that maybe I'm not pronouncing it correctly. First of all, I would like to thank all my partner organizations that we have been able to establish this format almost now 2 years ago, and that we have brought some really great topics into the region. And our ambition is to make it a little bit a TEDx talk for people that are involved between Switzerland and the Central Eastern European countries. And here you see our partner organization. Many thanks that you make this happen. And as usual, I would like to invite all of you listening in, check out what they are doing in the respective countries and join them if you're interested in the relationships between the country and Switzerland. Some points. Barbora will talk about 30 minutes, 25 minutes to 30 minutes, and we have time for a Q&A. You are unmuted and you have no video. We will always try to end on time with the option to stay on. So if you have a lively discussion, we will continue. I think Barbora has some time left. If not, we're gonna end at 11:45. Use the chat function if you have some insight about the topic, and also say hello to everybody, where you guys are from. If the chat function is working, I'm not sure. I will check afterwards when Barbora is talking. Maybe I forgot to activate the chat function. Use, that's important, the Q&A button for question. We will answer usually at the end of the speech, but if you have a question, just put it down. And you will receive all slides and the contact details of Barbora and also of everybody involved here afterwards in a follow-up email. You can rewatch this session and other sessions on our YouTube channel. Today I wanted to make, and that's a bit the first, a bit of a cross-selling. I wanted to let you know that on the 5th of October in Zurich, there will be the CE Day 2023. The CE Day is organized by my organization, SEC. However, it is the day for the whole region, and usually all the chambers of commerce from the region actually participate at this event, and they're also supporting it. So this is why I'm actually allowing myself to do this, because this is not about SEC, this is about all of us. But this day is also about all of us. The topic is embracing the age of change. You know, we think about artificial intelligence, we think about the war, we think about inflation, scarcity of talent. There's lots of things that entrepreneurs have to deal with. And these people will actually talk about this in a half-day event starting at 9 until 2 o'clock. And I hope some of you can join us. These are people from business, from science, from also politics, and all is about meeting at the beautiful Zunfthaus zu Schmieden in Zurich and meet each other. The next CEE-Swiss Impulse session will be also very interesting. Some of you might remember when the war started, this very unfortunate event, we had a geopolitical outlook. And why is this happening? How will it end? and we felt we could do a follow-up to this and really see where is the world at, where is CEE at, what will happen and why. And we have the great pleasure to have André Bastard, the CEO of Brasidos, to talk to us on October 10th. As usual, if you guys have an idea and you said, well, that would be a great topic, you should talk about this in this format, just write us an email at info@CEE-Swiss. Good. So I stop babbling and I will introduce Barbora. Barbora, it's a great honor to have you as a distinguished individual, passionately committed, and I see that when I talk to you, to building bridges between science and society. Barbora boasts an impressive academic background that includes a master's degree in physics and management from Comenius University in Bratislava. So she's Slovak, also from the region. It's always great to show people from the region. And she has a PhD in thermonuclear fusion from EPFL. Through a multidisciplinary career spanning roles at the United Nations, government, and the industry, she has established herself as an expert in science outreach, education, and communication, notably during her decade-long tenure with the CERN community. Currently, she's affiliated with the University of Bern, and you correct me if something is wrong. She analyzes the real-world impacts of large science partnerships and the role of Central Eastern Europe countries in this nexus. Through her work, she aims to inspire current and future society leaders with the value of science for societal and sustainable development. So we are fortunate to have you, Barbora. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Oliver, for this great introduction. And I have to actually share my screen, right? Because I didn't do it yet. It's disabled. I can't do it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. I will make this happen in 20 seconds. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry about it. Yeah, so thank you very much. I am very happy to be here and to have this opportunity to share with you the information which I find very interesting and very relevant, and which might be also surprising for you, because these are the things which we don't talk about that often. And I also try to put it in the context of the CEE community. So I hope you all see my slides like this. Is it okay? Great. So actually, we'll talk first about the impact of the physics on the society and sustainable development, and then bring it to the case of the Switzerland, which is very inspirational. Then I will tell you about what does it mean when industry collaborates with big science laboratories, and also what does it mean, what is the potential for the Central East European countries. And at the end, I will finish by kind of challenge for the future generation in terms of education, so that we can really achieve the sustainable future. Let's start with this subject, which I really love. It's the impact of the physics on our society and sustainability, which we don't always realize. As Oliver mentioned, I came to the particle physics community 10 years ago. However, before I did PhD in thermonuclear fusion, and I am very happy about that, actually, because I'm proud to be part of that community, because thermonuclear fusion, it's a great example how physics and science contributes to the society. It's the energy which is powering sun and stars, and with thermonuclear fusion, we are trying to actually harness that and control that on the Earth in order to produce very clean and safe electricity. Basically, the highest collaboration on fusion, it's called ITER, and it's the large experiment, also big science laboratory in south of France. And this one puts together half of the humanity in order to get this energy working in the next years. But today we will talk about other big laboratory, big science laboratory, CERN, which is actually the largest particle physics laboratory in the world. That sounds very abstract, right? So what we are basically doing, it's fundamental research. We are trying to understand the mysteries of the universe, the questions, the open questions of the humanity. Like, for example, what are we made from? What are the guiding forces in the universe? What is the dark matter, and why more than 99% of our universe it's filled with something what we don't know about and we can't see and measure it. Then another subject which we try to understand is antimatter, because at the beginning of the universe we believe that the same amount of matter and antimatter was created. And when antiparticle with particle meets, they disappear in a flash of light, but we are all here like matter people. And therefore we are trying to see where is this antimatter gone and why is it gone. And then, of course, most of you probably know CERN for the Higgs boson, which is so-called God's particle. And this is something I will speak in a minute. And of course, we are also having different theories about extra dimensions, supersymmetry, etc. But if you want to know more about these things, I invite you to CERN, where you can have a guided tour for free and learn about this and much more from CERN scientists. Now, let me tell you a little bit just about Higgs boson, because this is something what is our recent discovery at CERN. Actually, Higgs boson, it's a particle which is the representation, the manifestation of the so-called Higgs field. 50 years ago, or more than 50 years ago, this physicist Higgs and also Englert, they predicted that few fractions of seconds after the Big Bang, the universe was filled by the Higgs field, omnipresent field. And when whichever particle goes through this field, it gets a mass, it becomes heavy. So you can ask, okay, but who cares that proton is heavier than electron? However, this is quite an existential question, because if proton and electron and neutron, they didn't have the mass as they have, specifically that one, we wouldn't look like we look like. All the things in the universe would look very differently. The guiding principles of physics laws would be different. So this is quite interesting question. Now you see, we have been studying that at CERN, and 11 years ago, we have measured the Higgs boson by 2 experiments at CERN, and we got a Nobel Prize for that. So now you see all these physicists here who are extremely happy about that. And on this picture, you can see only the main auditorium of CERN with a few hundreds of them. But you know, CERN community, it's of many thousands of scientists, so from universities from around the world who are part of it. So a lot of people around the world are really happy about this. Now, maybe the provocative question would be, why also a normal person should be happy about these things? So the reply is that we already are happy about this very much, but we are not realizing that. Because like every invention, applications, technology which we are using comes back from the knowledge which has been just driven by curiosity-driven research without any thought of doing some application. Let me show you some examples. So here I have pictures of Mr. Maxwell and Hertz. Maxwell was just very much interested to understand electricity and magnetism. So he have put together the equations to describe that phenomena mathematically. And then later, Mr. Hertz, he was doing also descriptions of and understood how the electromagnetic waves transmission works. And they just did it because they were really interested to understand it. However, they never thought that later all these would be used to create the technologies without which we can't imagine our life, wireless, you know, phones, radio, TV, etc. The same thing for Einstein, you know, he was very happy imagining that he's riding the beam of light, and then he created the theory of relativity. And you know, he didn't imagine that, for example, GPS and many other applications, they wouldn't work without knowledge of theory of relativity. And he got also Nobel Prize for the photoelectric effect. Without understanding photons, we wouldn't have all the laser technologies today. So these are just few examples. But now about Higgs. So Mr. Higgs, you know, he has launched 6 years ago with his theory of Higgs field, the search for Higgs. And in order to find this Higgs, what we had to do at CERN was to build unprecedented scientific instruments, which are huge. And these are accelerators, detectors, and also computing facilities. And actually, like that, we had to go further than the things which we already had. So we had to push the frontiers of science and technologies. And what came out of that were different spin-offs, startups, applications and innovations. Now here, CERN or all the detectors, accelerators which we have, they represent just a handful of the tens of thousands of little particle accelerators and detectors which are operating completely unnoticed in the industry in different fields. Here I just put few examples, but I will get to details in a later slides. So, actually, CERN is not only a fundamental research laboratory, but it's also a driver of innovation. We have the knowledge transfer group, and actually the knowledge from CERN technologies is being spread to different fields, environments, especially healthcare, quantum, and others. There are more than 30 startups, spin-offs using CERN technologies, a lot of partnerships with different stakeholders, industry, etc., and also business incubation centers. And then always when something important happens in the society, like we had a COVID crisis, or today we are talking a lot about environmental responsibility and sustainability. So CERN always mobilizes its forces to create some value for the society in those subjects. So I have actually prepared the, let's say, selection of my favorite examples of how CERN has contributed to something what you are using every day, or not only you, but different stakeholders of the society. And I will start with medical applications because this is, as I said, the biggest bulk of the applications. My favorite is a PET scanner. PET scanner, it's something what you know from each hospital when you go to check whether maybe there is some cancer tumor or some other anomaly in the functions of the body. It's an imaging technique. That stands for positron emission tomography. Positron is anti-electron. It's anti-particle. So as I already mentioned, actually the positron or anti-electron, when it meets with electron, so it annihilates in a flash of light, in photons. And this is what is happening in this technique. We are using the knowledge of particle physics in order to send positrons into the parts of the body which are in the question, the bones or cancerous cells. And then when they meet the electrons in the tissue, they annihilate and send and emit a little bit of light. And then we have to measure that. And how we measure that? We detect it in the same way like we do at CERN. And here I put the picture of the crystal. This is the crystal which has been developed at CERN since the last 30 years in crystal collaboration, because we are using these crystals to detect particles. It's very heavy, it's very dense crystals. And actually the new generation of PET scanners is using these crystals, which have been developed for the CMS detector at CERN, who was the one who has discovered the Higgs boson. So I think it's a very nice example. Then there are many more. We have a so-called many-pix collaboration, which have a big spread of different applications. Recently, there was first 3D color X-ray of a human body in collaboration of CERN with other stakeholders in Switzerland. Very important thing is the cancer therapy with different particles than classical X-rays, which everybody knows. If you use the protons, it's very different because with X-rays, they just go through the tissue and they destroy everything before hitting the target, the tumor, and also after. However, if we use protons, they just go to the place where they're supposed to go. So they go just to tumor and they don't destroy the tissues. And this is a big difference. I would like to mention that all these things are possible only thanks to the multidisciplinary collaboration with scientists, medical doctors, hospitals, etc., as usual. Another subject is the digital applications. I don't know how many of you know that World Wide Web was developed at CERN. it's now it has been more than almost 40 years ago. It will be soon. Another thing which might be surprising is that more than 40 years ago, touch screen was also pioneered at CERN. And for example, you know, the UN library and also some other places, they are using the data preservation tools, which have been invented like spin-off of CERN, because we have this huge capacity to analyze the data, the big data. And then there is something amazing at CERN, which is called CERN Open Lab. And that's basically the partnership with the leading ICT companies who are testing their new products on our infrastructure of the big data. Important subject, environmental applications. So just a few of them here. There is a Swiss startup called Transmutex, which is using the accelerator technology in order to transmute the nuclear waste to green energy. During the COVID, you know, the forces were mobilized, as I told you, and one of the spin-offs of this is called so-called Planet Watch. It's basically the network of monitors, of monitoring devices. There are like 30,000 around the world to monitor the air pureness. For a long time, there is a cloud experiment which exists at CERN, which one of the things which is doing is also simulation of the climate to understand it better. The accelerator technologies is used also to transmute the pollution from the huge marine engines, which is one of the biggest polluter of the oceans. So it transmutes it to something which is much less harmful. And you know, there was a technology, because at CERN we need ultra high vacuum so that we study the particles and there is nothing else. Thanks to the studies of ultra high vacuum, there was a spin-off of that, of the solar panel for heating, and they are, for example, covering the Geneva airport. And then there is a nice example also with the collaboration with company ABB, which probably everybody knows. CERN has signed contract with them in order to decrease the energy consumption of CERN and optimize. And thanks to that, actually, also ABB is using the infrastructure of CERN once again to create the new product based on machine learning, which would be then used for other infrastructures in the world in order to reduce the energy consumption. And the last group of the applications which I will share with you today is more kind of like humanitarian or cultural applications. I don't think you have heard about UNOSAT. It's a very nice UN little agency or body, let's say, which is based at CERN. And it is using its infrastructure and capacity to analyze the big data again. Whatever happens in the world, you know, like, for example, here I put the picture from after the bombardment of the Ukraine, or recent earthquakes, if it was already Syria, Turkey, or even now a few days ago. So CERN just takes the pictures, or UNOSAT, together with CERN, they take the fresh pictures from the satellites all around the planet. They are connected, and then within few hours they create the evacuation plans, you know, to know whether the bridge or certain road is still accessible, etc. So very nice application. Then there was, you know, during the COVID time again, the applications to monitor or to detect the presence of the viruses in the closed spaces, which is called CARA. And when it was one of the also people at CERN could go to work a little bit earlier than in other places, because we had applied this, and it is also recognized in collaboration with the World Health Organization. Then, of course, particle detectors are very good tools when you want to see something in the places which are not accessible, like pyramids or volcano, or even look into the car. And as I already mentioned a few times, we have this good capacity to do the simulations with big data analysis and things like that, which is used as a spin-offs to detect the frauds even on financial markets. So I would just quickly move to another subject now, which is the impact on society. But CERN has a representative, or it's in its DNA, science for peace, already for more than 70 years, or soon 70 years. And what we call so-called CERN model is the epistemic open global peaceful collaboration, for some noble goal. In our case, it's knowledge. For benefit of the humanity. So this blueprint has been used to create also other organizations in other fields, and it has been proposed to United Nations to tackle SDG Sustainable Development Goals as well. CERN is also the only one science organization which is observer to UN General Assembly, so it's kind of a leading voice for the science. And in terms of inspiration of new generation of scientists, it's also very, very active. We are welcoming thousands of students and young workers, and this provides the steady stream of highly qualified people with great technical skills, but also experience in working in international environment. And these go from main part, 80% of them, they find their careers in business and industry. So it has kind of big also economic impact in these terms. As I mentioned already, we are welcoming a lot of visitors. You can have a guided tour for free at CERN, see great places. And from October this year, there's even much more thanks to the new Science Gateway. Now I will try to make the connection with the Sustainable Development Goals. You probably are aware that in 2015, UN, which represents like almost 200 countries in the world, so they have decided about this Agenda 2030, basically 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which is a pathway for the sustainable future of the humanity. Now, if you have been listening what I said, so we could map that very directly CERN, and just, de facto, by doing its mission, it contributes to at least 5 SDGs directly, and then indirectly to many more. This represents basically the science and physics in general. Now, I think it's quite clear that without that there cannot be solution to any of the sustainable development goals, if it's climate change, energy crisis, pureness of the water, soil, air, smart cities, anything, health, of course, without new innovations, new technologies. And these are coming from basic sciences and research. We call it sometimes STEM, sometimes MINT. And this is being recognized more and more, actually 2022-2023 has been declared by UNESCO as International Year of Basic Sciences for Sustainable Development. And so now, like 2 weeks ago, 15th of August, UN General Assembly has declared the next 10 years like International Decade of Sciences for Sustainable Development. So it's really something what is getting a lot of momentum. Now let's talk a little bit about innovation. In innovation pathway, as it used to be also in the past, is that you have some great idea in the laboratory or university, then you create collaboration with some big industry and they produce technology on that, and then we continue in the production mode. Now, I have a question for you. Do you think what is the country with the so-called with the highest global innovation index? It's a measure of innovation recognized in the world. You are not present here, so I can't see your hands or anything, but you can make a guess in your heads, everybody. But the answer is, maybe not surprising, Switzerland. Why Switzerland? It's such a small country, right? With so high salaries. So the thing is that there is a long tradition of investment of Switzerland to science centers, especially also national science centers, and also best scientists, best brains. This is, their strategic asset, competitive asset, because like that, to be able to compete with the Asian market, for example, for innovations and technologies with the highest salaries, it's not so easy. So they really have to be high up on the innovation side. And then the little bit downside of that is that most of these scientists are being hired from abroad. And now also another thing is that there is long tradition of collaboration with these international large research infrastructures or big science labs. Just few of them here. And now let's have a look, what does it mean in numbers, for example, in a more quantitative way. What is the contribution of physics, in the Swiss economy or European economy, etc. There have been recently very nice studies about that officially by European Physical Society and Swiss Physics Society. And the main result out of it is that talking about Switzerland, the so-called physics-based industries, they are the second largest contributor to Swiss economy after the sector of finance. And for example, trade, construction, or tourism, that comes later. Another message from these studies is that we need innovation and science expertise in industry more and more than before, because this classical innovation pathway has changed. Now all the technologies are more and more complex. You can see it in the computer chips, and we will see that in quantum computing very soon. So today, actually, the innovation is not needed only at the beginning, the idea which you give to industry, and then you have product and you just sell it. But it's needed to be competitive. You need the innovation through the full production process. So it's important to have, if you want to be competitive and always a few steps ahead, to have some scientific knowledge within the company. Now let's talk about the partnerships with big science organizations where actually the science knowledge is really cutting edge. So what we call big science is basically CERN and other organizations like that, like EMBL, it's microbiology, is a space agency, or fusion, thermonuclear fusion, and others. It has been actually observed during the last years, while these organizations exist and they do the procurement, they all collaborate with the member states industries, because they need everything from them, and these industries have to always develop the things, because what we are building is something what was never built before. So it's always pushing the frontiers of everybody on all sides. And this has proven to increase the turnover. For example, the measure for CERN specifically, each franc Swiss, 1 franc Swiss, which is invested by CERN in the contract with high-tech company, brings additional 3 franc Swiss to that company. Then, they also, of course, create new know-how, products. It's nice to have the logo of a CERN supplier or spin-off of technology. And like that, it has been proven that companies can also access to new markets because they have also better credibility and good name. This is the event, which is called Big Science Business Forum, which is happening every 2 years. It will be again in October in Trieste next year, in 2024. And what is interesting in the context of this presentation is that they have a focus on Central East European countries, because it has been observed that there is quite low participation of the industries from these countries, despite of the large potential which they have, of course. So this is the invitation. If you would like to know more about that, please contact me. This is all very nice. We think it's settled. We are in control. However, there is a big challenge, for the future, in order to really make sure that we can make this sustainable future happen. And I call it actually, it's kind of counterproductive reality, which for me it's SDG number 18, that the interest of young people to study sciences, especially physics, engineering, and especially girls, it's decreasing. And as I said, it's counterproductive because from what I said, it's quite clear that it's not surprising that the STEM jobs are growing 3 times faster than in any other sector. And there will be many millions of jobs only in Europe in next years which will be not enough skilled people to fill them. And also what we could see with the companies, not only in Switzerland, but also in other countries, that already today they are lacking the high quality engineers to recruit, which they would need. So conclusion from this is that it's really crucial to inspire and motivate new generation of physicists, engineers, technically skilled specialists. And how to do it actually? What is why it doesn't really work? You know, because if we go back to the schools where everything happens, where this motivation should happen, so we see that the science school curricula are quite disconnected from real life, from what we know today, and also from the challenges which we are facing today. So what has been proven and by studies and different pilots is that what really works in order to increase the interest is the context with real life, with the human body, applications, relevance for the society. There was a PhD study on that recently. And then also what really works showing the applications, what we know today, cutting edge technologies. How to get this context? Industry is a great place how to get this context, because it's a path from science to citizen. And not only it shows the applications, technologies, but also the career opportunities. So this is very powerful. It really works, impactful, but it's not yet explored avenue in the physics outreach and education. So therefore, I just very shortly would like to introduce to you the program, which is called Youth at STEM for Sustainable Future, which has been developed in the international community over the last 5 years, and with aim to inspire, engage young talents in high schools for physics and other basic sciences, and also the future leaders of the society, those who will not become scientists, to understand the value of science and the importance of the evidence-based decision-making. So it basically brings together the dots, it brings to the high school the science in context with real life, with society, by showing physics at work in industry. And as I mentioned, this was developed internationally with a big science community, experts on education, on working with industries themselves, with teachers themselves, and aiming to make a real impact and hopefully change in the education system. First countries which we thought like to create a pilot where we call them 4S and 4S plus, because other partners are interested. And so first thing which we did is in Switzerland, around Geneva, French part, with aiming to go actually further internationally. 2023-24, it's a phase of Swiss pilot and proof of concept, and we aim to expand also in the other countries with focus on CEE countries. So it's open to join. If you would like to more information, please contact me. This is just a little snapshot of how was the first ever event in Lausanne with the different companies, ABB, Solstice, which is the solar panels spin-off from EPFL. And it was very successful. We measured the impact, of course. The 30% of students found new perspectives of their career, the scientific one, which they never envisaged before. It was very impactful for girls, because they find now that sciences are more accessible, physics, thanks to the role models. And about half of the students also claim that they, even if they are not going to become scientists, very, very fair enough, so they would be kind of ambassadors for scientific method, in their future career. And very good news is also that it was recognized by Swiss education authorities, this National Conference of Higher Education, as the program which is perfectly aligned with their new education plan. Now, also through this program, actually, there is another initiative, which is the creation of the new network of enterprises, of companies, which is working name for the moment, because in the design phase, it's Swiss, which means Science at Work in Industry for Sustainable Future. And it's basically the idea to put together different companies, create a network of science-based technological companies or companies which are using any technological innovations in order to create something what doesn't have to be completely scientifically perceived, or the companies who really feel responsible that they should be ambassadors for this need of the science expertise for sustainability, for social economic progress, and the need of the new generation of technically skilled specialists for that. And enable together to change actually the paradigm a little bit and push for the better future. So this is also open to join. Please contact me if you would like to get more information. So thank you very much for your attention. This is my email, and just a reminder of 3 things where I'm very happy to give you more information, and would be glad if you would be interested to join. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbora. That was great. So much information. I open the floor to questions. I have a couple of them, but I let you think about that. Now just my cat joined. So cat, you got to go out.
Huh.
It's she's hungry. It's lunchtime, like everybody. So anyway, Barbora, I have a first question. Now everybody's talking about. I said the CEE Day on October 5th is basically talking about all those changes, and of course this deep science is not super flexible. It's maybe like it's not like a speedboat, but it's like a tanker. I don't know. Maybe that's a wrong way to look at it. Where do you see in those new developments in technology the biggest leverage? You know, of course, people think about maybe artificial intelligence analysis being. How do you see all this impacting the relevance of your science?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think I know what you mean. It all looks like this deep science and very much far away from the real world and how we can really use it. But this is basically the same what I was saying. Like, for example, in the future, what we are. You have seen a lot of examples like how the big data are playing a role and the capacity of analyze big data. We are digitalizing in our society. So in order to create the tools to do it well, so this is very important. So scientific input there, it's important. However, even if we are talking about artificial intelligence and things like that, so I think it's very important that scientists work together hand in hand with other, stakeholders of the society to ensure that it's also ethically correct and that we do the things, because every tool, you have a fire, you have a knife, you can use it to cook, but you can also use it for something very bad. So it depends on in which hands it is. And so this is first thing which comes to my mind. And then, of course, what is going to be really the future, it's the computing, quantum computing and quantum technologies, which will completely revolutionize the way how everything is working today. Even, for example, talking about communication or climate change analysis or any of these things. I don't know if I replied to your question.
No, that's wonderful. You have explained that really well. We have a question from Johan. Hello, Johan. Good partner, a member of ours. Is CERN affected by Switzerland being kept outside of the Horizon Europe research program, or is it CERN considered as a non-Swiss entity and still benefits from EU grant? Now, I just wanted to mention, I also wanted to say that. I say that to everybody who wants to hear it, but I really think that this European Union using this as basically keeping Switzerland a little bit under pressure to join some kind of how they want to see the partnership between Switzerland and the European Union being shaped. I think this is completely wrong. You basically take one of the most innovative societies in Europe are probably the most innovative, even with the most important basic research out of the picture, just because politicians want to find a solution. I think they should stop it, but we've heard it a couple of days ago. They have repeated it. They even allowed the UK to participate again. I mean, that's a joke. Sorry, that's my opinion. And keep science and help everybody to pull. We have enough problems in the world. You talked about the 17 goals, but please, Barbora, how is it with CERN? I hope you do your French trick, that you're basically a European organization, right?
Yeah, actually, I'm not the right person to reply to this because I'm not aware of what is exactly now the relation of CERN and EU. We have the EU office. We are applying to EU grants, and they are running as far as from what I know. However, it's true that Switzerland is really out of that, and even in terms of collaborations of, I mean, Switzerland with the big science organizations, etc. So there have been repercussions on the industry because of this. So we are actually all hoping that it will back to the normal state, because this is completely against of what is the spirit of the scientists: collaborative working without frontiers, even if it's political or geographical.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of mentioning this when you showed this great slide of how you guys collaborate the 70 years at CERN, and what your idea is, like technology for humanity or whatever it was. And I think that really should be the underlying spirit, and not the reality of real politics. I understand this as well, but it's a pity, and not only for Switzerland but for everybody. So anyway, the other question, of course, is this lack of talent. We at SEC, we are very much a bit in the middle of this. And we feel we are not in big science really at the moment, but we are a little bit working towards helping IT scarcity in Switzerland. And we believe that only the IT lack of talent in Switzerland is basically keeping us back, like everybody else, of course. But we are trying to bridge a little bit the talents of Central Eastern Europe with the Swiss economy. But how do you see this? And you also, congratulations to your great initiative of trying to motivate young people to follow a scientific path, because we need those people. Where do you see? Do you really believe they are? I mean, do you really believe that people will change their minds? I mean, of course you believe it, but in general, I mean, we kind of like really go into the wrong direction. What should we really do? Like, if you were the president of Switzerland, what would you do?
Now, what do you mean if people would change their mind? That they would be more interested in IT? This is what you mean?
No, in general, now really science now. The engineers, the physicists, the physicians, whatever you call it. How can we make sure that the young people get into that field? I mean, I know what you're doing now, and this is great, but...
Yeah, okay, great question. So I couldn't go too much in details, but so thank you very much for this question. The thing is that, I have been observing this for the last 10 years in the community, science community. We are all aware of the problem, and we all would like to change the curricula, because the curricula, as I said, in the schools, this is how we get information about science. If you don't decide to be scientists, so the last and the only connection which you have with science and physics is through your physics teacher at high school. That's it. And then later you learn from media, which is also complete miscommunication, or at school. So if we want to do something, so it has to be done on the level of the schools. And this is, because big science organizations, universities, and scientific communities, we don't have a mandate to change curricula. We have a mandate to communicate what we do, and we do it through inviting people to come to us. We organize events. But then the thing is, then you reach only those people who are interested to come to these events, even though those events are extremely inspirational. So if we really want to make a change on a high, broad level, it's necessary to get in touch with the organs which are deciding about curricula, which are, by the way, especially in this time of the planet, or let's say in these times, they are very much thinking about how to change for the better, etc. So to work together with them and propose something what really makes sense, what works. And this is what happens actually with this project, that it's not scientific community which is doing alone. No, it's collaboration with the authorities who are working on change of the curricula, who are interested in increasing the interest of students to be more scientists, because the talents are there, especially girls. You know, at the beginning, when they are small, there you have 50%, or you have the same percentage of girls and boys who are talented for mathematics, physics. It's just somehow from the stereotypes, etc., that you lose them after some age. So therefore, you know, what has been observed, what really works, and we can really see it in a different, as I said, pilots in different countries as well. What was done is that recreating this connection with reality, with what people care about. So this is something what really works, and also make it more hands-on and playful, connect with the world, you know, because there are very few people who are by default interested. Like I was one of them, but I know very well that it's very rare. So we have to put hands together, work together, and there to get out of the silo community, you know. So breaking the silos and working together, that can make a big impact. Therefore, if people from CEE community could join the effort and make it happen also in other countries, bring the Swiss pilot there, that would be amazing.
Barbora and everybody. So I forgot to actually close it at the quarter two. That's the first time. But we have another question. I just wanted to really congratulate you, and I would like to also open kind of like show interest of SEC, how we can support you in this. I think this is a super cool initiative, and let's discuss this after this talk. Maybe we can help you in small ways.
That would be amazing. Sure.
Cool. Anyway, we have another question. The other guy, you know, it's officially over. Then the question is how it is for people who finished engineering studies in, let's say, 10 years ago, but because of different reasons had to change their career path for some time. Now they would like to come back to engineering path, but in fact, they don't have professional experience, and most programs are for young people after studies. What can these older guys that lost their ways do in order to contribute again?
Yeah, I don't know exactly the names of the programs, but there are a lot of, maybe not a lot, but there exist some integration programs for this. But okay, it would have to be searched for. But for sure that, yeah, it's a little bit more difficult, because most of the things which are happening are for young people who just finished masters, etc. So in this case, it's great that people would like to reintegrate, and yeah, I can't really be more specific and helpful in this. I'm sorry.
I would also reckon it depends a bit what you studied and in what country you are. I could imagine, you know, there's a lot of people. If I just think of the teachers, you know, they try to bring teachers back to. Yeah. There's always like national programs where they feel there's not enough talent, that they kind of like do some kind of a program to support. In Switzerland, you could definitely try to check out or even ask the Bundesamt für Ausbildung, whatever it's called. Barbora, what's the name of it? The Bundesamt für Ausbildung, Universität, and I always forget the name. But we will do a little bit of research. Maybe you can write an email also to info@CEE-Swiss, or better to Barbora maybe, and we'll try to find out maybe if you state you know, where you're from and basically what kind of studies you did in what country.
Yeah, with pleasure. We can
All
help.
right. Good. So I still have lots of questions, but we will anyway follow up afterwards, Barbora. Again, you will get the slides. You can rewatch the session. The next session will be on 10th of October about the geopolitical analysis, and a little bit about how it's going to continue with CEE, the war, etc. So very interesting, a completely different topic as it should be for the CEE-Swiss Impulse sessions. And this was very inspiring for me. I heard a lot of things I didn't know. And Barbora, once again, many thanks, and to you all for having listened in. And enjoy your lunch, and I hope to see you soon again. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.